Welcome to the Astro Psyche. My name is Shawna McGrath. I'm a depth psychotherapist and an astrologer, and I want to talk to you about eclipses. We are fully in eclipse season as I'm recording this. We're just off of our first of two eclipses, February and March of 2026. And I find what I notice in myself, in the people around me, in my clinical practice, eclipses evoke a strong, visceral, psychosomatic, emotional feeling. There is a heightened intensity around eclipse time always. And I find that this can be such a mixture, a paradoxical mixture sometimes of excitement, dread, feelings of expansion and openness, and then also feelings of trappedness or stuckness. And maybe you can relate to this, or maybe you see this happening in your sphere, around you, in the world. Eclipses are so fascinating because they remind us that we can have so many different feelings at one time, and that an ending is a beginning and a beginning is an ending. There is this archetypal symbol of the Ouroboros, the snake or the dragon that is searching, seeking, eating its tail, and it's continually moving through. And there is no end and there is no beginning because they are the same. So I wanted to share with you a quote. This is from the Book of Symbols, Reflections on Archetypal Images, published by Taschen. This is on page 32. It's actually a really cool book. It looks at more prominent archetypal symbols, anything from parent, elder, whale, ocean, bone, skin, all of these from a symbolic archetypal vantage point. And they have a section on eclipses. So they say, quote, eclipse means that the ordinary lights on which we depend are temporarily quenched. Nightly sleep, eclipses are waking awareness, which sinks exhausted into the liquid realm of dreams. More afflicting, the light of nature within ourselves can be eclipsed by affects, moods, traumas, and compulsions. Eclipses convey the idea of the ego being overshadowed by the unconscious, or the ego itself blocking the essential source of illumination. But while life can be eclipsed in many ways, the symbolism and science of celestial eclipse attest to a provisional extinguishing of the light, inevitably followed by its welcome resurgence. And I think I really like this word resurgence. That feels very important when we're talking about eclipses astrologically, psychologically. Eclipse, the word, actually means to obscure, and it's implied that it's a temporary obscuring. It's not a permanent blocking out. There is this temporarily blocking out or blotting out of something where um, we're not able to fully perceive what is actually happening here. And I feel a bit of that also in this quote where our affects, moods, traumas, and compulsions can obscure things. There can be even maybe a distortion. And I want to be, I'm sort of almost hesitating using that word because distortion tends to have a more judgmental, judgmental correlation. Uh, And also, I think in some ways that can track well when we're talking about moods, traumas, and compulsions. There's a not being able to really see exactly what is going on here. And um, I think it's so important to name that when we are in eclipse season, when we are working through something that feels really intense and heightened emotionally, somatically, psychically. Um, there is a quality of things being obscured as we're working through whatever it is that has a hold on us temporarily. In Jungian psychology, there is this phenomena that Jung named called a complex. And a complex has its root in an archetype. So complexes are always archetypal. And we all have complexes. They're essentially when we feel a strong and sometimes almost exaggerated feeling or reaction or response in comparison to what the circumstances. Uh, and the way that he describes a complex is that it organizes around an archetypal theme. So someone may have a complex around um, safety and security. Someone may have a complex around financial security. Someone may have a complex around um, freedom and the fear of being controlled or overtaken or engulfed. And so, any circumstance that relates to that complex, that theme. So, in the case of, let's say, if there's a financial complex, anything that threatens one's financial security, even in a unrelated way, can activate that complex. And then there's a very strong inner experience and sometimes outer experience. And it can often feel like we are taken over, like I think sometimes it can feel like we're possessed by a feeling for a period of time, and it's very heightened and intense. And then at some point, it runs its course, we digest it, and then things settle back down. And oftentimes we know that a complex has been activated because when we look back, we're like, whoa, I had, I had a lot of big feelings about that, or I reacted in a way that maybe feels confusing. Why did I do that? Sometimes I think it can be, we know a complex has been present when it's hard to put ourselves back in what was happening at that time. And again, we all have complexes and we all have these periods of time where we are overtaken by something. And an eclipse symbolically correlates to this theme where there's something that comes in that is larger than the ego, that is larger than the light, and it obscures things. And we're like in it, we're in the unconscious, which is a complex. It is unconscious, in that we are not consciously aware, or we're not consciously orchestrating what's happening. So there's this blotting out, this obscuring, and then there is the return of the light, the resurgence, and the light always returns. We always come back into consciousness. And astrology is so cool because it mirrors our psychic process, or our psychic process mirrors the astrology. Um, this is one of those ancient sayings that as above, so below. What is above in the sky, the celestial realm, mirrors what is below. What is below mirrors what is above, symbolically. And so we can think of eclipses as this time where the unconscious material is very present, is allowed to uh, rush in like a high tide. And yeah, that can be scary. That can invoke anxiety. I think sometimes that can invoke excitement as well. The unconscious is everything, it is a multitude of things. Just because something is unconscious does not mean it's bad or that it's negative. There can actually be unconscious material that uh, is empowering and generative. And seeking out to bring things into consciousness actually can often have a regenerative impact. And so I'm sharing all of this with you because well, frankly, because I want to express what is on my mind and heart at the moment and what I'm seeing. And I want to chew on that here with you in hopes that through talking through this with you, I can have a sense of a connection with the material in myself. And then also, maybe there is something here that. Uh, that does something for you, that is supportive for you in some way. And I find often when we are in a heightened state, when we are feeling really intense emotions, or we're going through an intense experience, or we are feeling really dysregulated, which I think can happen very easily with eclipses. Um, I think it can be really helpful to just name what is actually happening. I see this with astrology all the time. Again, for myself, the people in my world, my clinical practice, when we just name, oh, okay, this is what you're experiencing here, this is what's happening in your life, this is what you're feeling. And then let's look at the astrology, what's happening here. That seeing the correlation, there's something about that that just really downshifts. I think it helps us relax because there's a sense of inherent order or meaning, or, at this more metaphysical level, I think that helps us connect in with psyche with a capital P. That helps us connect in with ourselves, but also the natural world. And when I say natural world, I'm thinking in an animistic way, in that everything has a soul and there is a soul of the world. And when we are dysregulated, there's an illusion that we're disconnected from everyone and everything. And I think that astrology helps us come back into that connection. And a part of that is realizing that there's nothing wrong with you, that you are okay. Yeah, even when things are not okay, you are okay. And how important relationship is, relationship with yourself, relationship with the world, with humans. Um, and yeah, I think that's important to remember when we go through eclipses. And um, I also think too, a part of this, again, like I just keep coming back to this, the resurgence and the renewal kind of phenomenon that can happen through eclipses, where once we go through something where there is an eclipse, an obscuring, when consciousness returns, when the luminary, the sun or the moon, returns, we psychologically see things in a different light because we've had that contrast. And right now, between the eclipses, we're really in the heart of it. So I think maybe sometimes we can get glimmers of the renewal, of the resurgence, of that forward point in time. But even if we can't connect with that, we know that that is on the horizon. We know that that is coming. We know that that is a part of the process. And we also know that in 6 months, we'll have another set of eclipses and we'll go through this process again. And this again is where there are cycles to the psyche, and we go in and out of our process, of our psychological process of having different feelings, of digesting those feelings and those experiences at a short-term level over hours, days, and weeks, and then over long-term cycles as well, over months. And yeah, it's this constant cycle. So my hope for you, my wish for you is that you do whatever you need to do at this moment, whenever you are listening to this, to get the support that you need to meet whatever the current moment is for you. And that support can be anything. That can be a human, an animal, doing something really compassionate for yourself. It doesn't have to be the good thing, the best thing, just whatever feels uh, like a sense of rightness for you in the moment here. And I'm also very excited to share with you in this moment that I am co-teaching a course on tarot as a spiritual practice. We're starting February 22nd, and it feels like such a special and sacred time to offer this course, to offer this topic. In this course, we'll explore how to read tarot psychologically, spiritually, from a depth perspective, and how to develop your spiritual practice, how to create the structure of a spiritual practice for you, and how to deepen into that over time. So whether you're this is something that's more new to you, spiritual practice or tarot, setting you up with a safe and effective framework to enter into a practice. And also for those who have been playing around with tarot and doing your own rituals, there's also this really beautiful moment now in the astrology and here with this course to deepen and to explore more of what is available to you via the tarot and spiritual practice. You can find more about that on my website, theastropsyche.com/courses. And I am wishing you so much safety and comfort and ease in the coming months. And I'll see you soon.